The starship Stellar Harmony floated in the darkness of space. Its smooth metal surface reflected the light from distant stars. Inside the ship, 3 aliens watched their screens with nervous eyes. Ambassador Crix adjusted his blue robes. His 4 arms moved in patterns that showed worry in his species. Next to him stood his assistant, a small creature with purple skin and large black eyes. The 3rd alien was tall and thin with green scales covering its body. Unknown vessel detected, the ship's computer announced. Distance, 5,000 units. Crix leaned forward. His people, the Valerians, had traveled the stars for thousands of years. They had met hundreds of species, but this ship was different. It looked crude, almost primitive. Metal plates were welded together in ways that seemed random. The vessel had none of the elegant curves of proper starships. "Send greeting signal," Crix ordered. Minutes passed. Then a voice came through their speakers. It was rough and strange. "This is Captain Jake Miller of the USS Pioneer. We receive your signal. We come in peace." The aliens looked at each other. The voice spoke Galactic Standard but with an odd accent. "Prepare docking tube," Crix said. "We make first contact." The human ship moved closer. Crix watched it approach. The vessel leaked radiation that would kill most species. Its engines burned chemical fuel, something the galaxy had abandoned ages ago. Everything about it seemed dangerous. The docking tube connected. Air hissed as pressure equalized. Crix and his assistants waited by the airlock. The door opened. 3 figures stepped through. Crix's scanner immediately started beeping warnings. These creatures were impossible. They came from a world with gravity 3 times standard. Their planet's atmosphere contained oxygen, a deadly poison to many species. Background radiation on their homeworld would cook most civilized beings in minutes. The lead figure was tall by their standards. Captain Jake Miller had short brown hair and brown eyes. His skin showed signs of radiation exposure that should have killed him. He wore a simple blue uniform with patches on the shoulders. Behind him stood 2 more humans, a woman with red hair and a man with dark skin. Jake stepped forward and extended his right hand. "Captain Jake Miller, pleasure to meet you." Crix stared at the offered hand. His scanner screamed more warnings. The human's grip strength could crush most species' limbs. The captain's body temperature ran hot enough to cause burns. Even the bacteria on his skin were deadly weapons to other life forms. But Crix was a diplomat. He carefully extended one of his 4 hands. Jake gripped it firmly and moved it up and down. Crix felt the raw power in that grip, controlled but present. "I am Ambassador Crix of the Valerian Empire," he managed to say. Jake smiled, showing teeth. Predator teeth. Crix's assistant made a small sound of fear. "This is Commander Lisa Brown and Lieutenant Mike Johnson," Jake said, pointing to his crew. The woman nodded. The man gave a small wave. Both moved with the easy grace of apex predators. Their eyes tracked everything in the room, measuring distances and angles. These were beings who evolved as hunters. "Your ship," Crix said slowly. "Where does it come from?" "Earth," Jake replied. "3rd planet from our sun. We just figured out faster than light travel 6 months ago. This is our first trip outside our solar system. 6 months. These Deathworlders had mastered FTL travel and built this ship in 6 months. Most species took decades to make that leap. Please come to our conference room," Crix said. His training took over despite his fear. "We have much to discuss." As they walked through the ship, Crix's mind raced. He would need to contact the Galactic Council immediately. A new species had joined the galactic community, a species from a death world, a species that shouldn't exist, a species that might be the most dangerous thing the galaxy had ever seen. The conference room on the Stellar Harmony was designed for comfort. Soft lighting filled the space. The air was perfectly controlled. Floating chairs adjusted to each species' body shape. Everything about it spoke of advanced civilization. Jake Miller sat down in one of the chairs. It molded around him, trying to find the right shape for his human frame. Lisa Brown and Mike Johnson took seats beside him. Across the table, Ambassador Crix and his assistants settled into their own chairs. "Would you like refreshments?" Crix asked. It was standard diplomatic protocol. "That would be great," Jake said. "Actually, we brought some things to share." "Lisa?" Commander Lisa Brown reached into her bag. She pulled out a metal container and several ceramic mugs. The aliens watched her pour a dark liquid into the cups. Steam rose from the hot beverage. "Coffee," Lisa explained. "It's a traditional Earth drink. We thought you might enjoy trying it." She set a mug on the table and pushed it toward Crix. The ambassador's scanner immediately lit up with warnings. The liquid contained several toxic compounds. The temperature was high enough to cause burns. The caffeine level would stop many species' hearts. "You drink this?" Crix asked carefully. "Every morning," Lisa said with a smile. She lifted her own mug and took a sip. "Can't start the day without it." The purple-skinned assistant made a choking sound. "That's poison. The chemical analysis shows—" "Yeah, it's pretty strong," Jake agreed. He picked up his mug. "This is actually the mild stuff. You should see what Mike drinks." Mike Johnson grinned. "I like mine black. No sugar, no cream, just pure coffee." Lisa set her mug down on the table, but her hand slipped. The ceramic cup fell and shattered on the floor. The sound echoed through the quiet room. "Damn," Lisa muttered. She bent down and started picking up the pieces with her bare hands. Crix's scanner went wild again. The ceramic material was incredibly hard, yet the human was handling the sharp fragments without protection. Her skin didn't even show cuts from the edges. "Please allow our cleaning system." Crix started. "No problem, I've got it," Lisa said. She gathered the broken pieces in her palm. "Sorry about that. These mugs are pretty sturdy, but they do break if you drop them just right." The green-scaled alien leaned forward. "That material, our scientists work hard to create something that strong. You use it for drinking vessels?" "Sure," Jake said. "Coffee mugs, plates, bowls. Pretty much all our dishes are ceramic or glass. And when they break, you just pick them up?" Crix asked. "Well, yeah," Lisa said. She dropped the pieces into a waste container. "What else would we do?" The aliens exchanged glances. These humans treated deadly materials like minor inconveniences. "Perhaps," Crix said slowly, "you could show us more about your people, your culture, your recreational activities?" Jake's face lit up. "Absolutely. Mike, why don't you show them that thing you were practicing?" Mike Johnson stood up. From his uniform pocket, he pulled out 3 small knives. The scanner showed they were made of steel, edges sharp enough to cut through most materials. "I've been learning to juggle," Mike said. "It's an old Earth skill. Great for hand-eye coordination." He tossed the knives into the air. They spun in perfect arcs. His hands moved in smooth patterns, catching and throwing each blade. The deadly weapons danced through the air inches from his face and body. Crix's assistant backed away from the table. The purple creature's large eyes grew even wider. "He's playing with weapons." "They're not really weapons," Mike said, still juggling. "They're practice knives. The real ones are much sharper." He caught all 3 knives and put them away. "I can also do it with torches, but I figured fire might be too much for a first meeting." "Fire?" Crix repeated weakly. "Burning sticks," Jake explained. "It's very popular at festivals." The room fell silent. The aliens stared at the humans. These creatures from Earth drank poison for pleasure. They handled broken shards with bare hands. They juggled deadly blades for fun. They played with fire at celebrations. And this was just their normal behavior. The diplomatic meeting was going well. Ambassador Crix had started to relax. These humans were strange and dangerous, but they seemed friendly. Jake Miller was explaining Earth's history when the alarm started. Red lights flashed through the conference room. A loud siren wailed. Crix's purple assistant squeaked in fear. "Alert! Alert!" The ship's computer announced. "Unknown vessels approaching. Weapons detected." Crix jumped from his chair. His 4 arms moved to different control panels. Screens appeared in the air showing 3 ships closing fast. The vessels had sharp angles and dark colors. Weapon ports glowed with energy. Zarathi raiders, Crick said. His voice shook. They attack peaceful ships, steal technology and resources. Jake stood up calmly. How long until they reach us? 3 minutes, the green-scaled alien replied. Our shields will not hold against their weapons. The Stellar Harmony is a diplomatic vessel. We have minimal defenses. The human captain touched his ear. Pioneer, this is Miller. We have a situation. 3 hostile ships incoming. Copy that, Captain, a voice responded. What are your orders? Jake looked at Lisa and Mike. Something passed between them. A silent communication that the aliens didn't understand. Break out the emergency supplies, Jake said. The alien stared at him. Emergency supplies? What could primitive humans have that would help against advanced raiders? Captain Miller, Crick said urgently, you must return to your ship. The raiders will destroy us all. Perhaps you can escape while they focus on us. Jake shook his head. We don't leave allies behind. Lisa, Mike, let's go. The 3 humans ran from the conference room. Crix and his assistants followed. They couldn't understand what the humans planned to do. They reached the docking area. The human ship's airlock was open. Crew members were pulling out metal cases and strange objects. Crix's scanner tried to identify the items but couldn't make sense of them. One human carried what looked like a metal stick. Another had a device that sprayed foam. Someone else held a roll of silver tape. These weren't weapons. They were tools, maybe cleaning supplies. Incoming transmission, the computer announced. A harsh voice filled the air. Surrender your ship. Give us your technology. Resist and die. Crix felt his heart sink. The Zarathi never showed mercy. His people would be slaves or worse. Jake grabbed what looked like an ancient projectile weapon. It had a long barrel and wooden stock. The design was so primitive that Crix's scanner didn't even register it as dangerous. All hands, Jake spoke into his communicator. Prepare for combat. Remember your training. If it exists, it's a weapon. The first raider ship fired. Energy beams struck the Stellar Harmony's shields. The ship shook. Sparks flew from control. Panels. Shields at 60%, the computer reported. Lisa Brown appeared with a metal cylinder. She checked something on its side. Fire suppression system from Corridor 7. Should work nicely. Mike Johnson carried 2 metal clubs. They looked like primitive tools. He also had several round objects that Crix didn't recognize. Baseballs, Mike explained, seeing the alien's confusion. Regulation weight, perfect for throwing. Engineer Sam Davis ran up with more supplies. He had the roll of silver tape Jake had mentioned, plus wire, metal pipes, and what appeared to be kitchen utensils. You know, the good stuff, Captain, Sam said. This duct tape could fix anything or break anything depending on how you use it. The ship shook again. Shields at 30%. They're preparing to board, Crix warned. Zarathi soldiers are brutal fighters. Their armor is advanced. Their weapons are... Sir, Jake interrupted. With respect, we've got this. You might want to tell your people to secure themselves. This is about to get messy. Crix looked at the humans. They stood ready with their primitive tools and household items. They faced certain death with smiles on their faces. These Deathworlders were either insane or they knew something the galaxy didn't. The raider ships moved closer. Docking tubes extended. The Zarathi were coming, and the humans were waiting for them. The docking tube shook as the Zarathi raiders connected to the Stellar Harmony. Jake Miller stood with his crew at the entrance. Behind them, Ambassador Crix and his assistants watched in terror. The airlock began to open. Jake raised his old rifle. Remember, people, they expect energy weapons and shields. They won't know what hit them. The door slid open. 6 Zarathi soldiers stepped through. They were tall, covered in black armor. Their faces were hidden behind dark helmets. Each carried a glowing energy rifle. The lead raider started to speak. Surrender, and Jake pulled the trigger. The bullet hit the raider's helmet with a loud crack. The alien stumbled backward, confused. His armor was designed for energy weapons, not solid projectiles. Now, Jake shouted. Lisa Brown ran forward. She aimed her fire extinguisher and sprayed white foam everywhere. The corridor filled with thick clouds. The raiders couldn't see. Their helmet sensors were designed for energy signatures, not chemical foam. Mike Johnson threw a baseball. It hit a raider in the chest with tremendous force. The alien fell back, into his companions. Mike threw another, and another. The hard balls bounced off armor and helmets, causing chaos. "What kind of weapons are these?" a raider shouted. Through the foam cloud, Sam Davis appeared. He swung a metal pipe at knee level. A raider went down hard. Sam wrapped duct tape around the alien's arms before he could recover. A raider fired his energy weapon. The beam went wide, hitting the wall. Lisa sprayed more foam directly into his face. The chemical mixture found gaps in his helmet seal. "I can't see," the raider yelled. He dropped his weapon and tried to clear his visor. Mike hit him with a baseball bat. The alien crumpled to the floor. "Fall back," the lead raider ordered. But Jake's crew was already moving. A human engineer named Bill Clark had found the gravity controls. He turned the artificial gravity off, then on, then off again. The raiders, used to steady gravity, lost their balance. Humans who grew up with Earth's punishing gravity adapted instantly. A raider floated helplessly as gravity cut out. Lisa pushed off the wall and crashed into him. They spun together until gravity returned. The raider hit the floor hard. Lisa landed on her feet like a cat. "Music!" someone shouted. "Hit them with the music!" Pilot Amy Carter had reached the ship's communication system. She connected her personal player. Suddenly, the corridors filled with the sound of Earth heavy metal. Guitars screamed, drums pounded. The volume was maximum. The raiders grabbed their helmets. Their species had sensitive hearing. The human music was agony to them. One raider ripped off his helmet, preferring the foam to the sound. Jake moved forward. He used his rifle like a club, striking at joints in the armor. These were weak points meant for maintenance, not combat. More raiders arrived from their ship. They fired energy weapons wildly, but the foam cloud was too thick. The gravity kept changing. The music was too loud. Mike found a cleaning closet. He grabbed a mop and charged. The simple wooden handle cracked against a raider's knee. The alien fell and Mike used the mop to pin him down. "Their weapons don't work," a raider screamed. "Nothing works, right?" Sam appeared with his duct tape. He wrapped it around a raider's weapon, jamming the trigger mechanism. The alien tried to free his gun, but the tape held firm. The lead raider finally understood. These humans weren't using advanced technology. They were using chaos itself as a weapon. Every human tool became a weapon. Every normal ship system became a trap. "Retreat," he ordered. "Back to the ship." The raiders stumbled backward. Some dragged wounded companions. Others simply ran. They squeezed through the airlock, desperate to escape the foam, the gravity, the music, and the insane humans who fought with sticks and tape. Jake's crew pursued them to the airlock. As the last raider disappeared, Sam slapped duct tape over the control panel. "That'll hold them," he said. The airlock sealed. Outside, the raider ship's docking tube detached. The vessel pulled away fast, followed by the other two raider ships. They were fleeing. The feared Zarathi raiders were running from humans armed with household supplies. The crew of the USS Pioneer had gathered in the Stellar Harmony's recreation room. Word of the humans' victory over the Zarathi had spread through the ship. Alien crew members watched from doorways, too curious to stay away, but too nervous to get close. Jake Miller raised a glass filled with amber liquid. "To new friends and scared-off pirates." The human crew cheered and drank. Ambassador Crix watched his scanner light up with warnings. The liquid contained ethanol, a substance most species classified as industrial solvent. "You're drinking poison," the purple assistant whispered. "For celebration?" Mike Johnson laughed. "This is nothing. You should see what we drink at weddings." Dr. Steve Walker had joined the group. He noticed the aliens' concern. "Don't worry. Human livers process alcohol. It's actually antimicrobial, so it helped our ancestors survive." "You evolved to drink poison?" Crix asked. "We evolved to survive everything," Steve explained. "Our planet tried to kill us with diseases, predators, weather, even the plants. So we adapted. We learned to eat things that would kill other species. Spicy peppers, fermented foods, even mild toxins. Lisa Brown had found the ship's entertainment system. Hey, want to see something fun? This is called rugby. The screen showed humans running on a field. They slammed into each other at full speed. Bodies flew. Players got up laughing, even with blood on their faces. This is entertainment? The green-scaled alien asked. They're trying to kill each other. No, they're just playing, Mike said. Wait till you see American football. Or ice hockey. Now that's violent. The screen changed. Humans on skates swung wooden sticks. They crashed into walls. Fights broke out. The crowd cheered louder when players threw punches. Crix's scanner was going wild. Brain trauma. Broken bones, torn ligaments. How is this recreational? Builds character, Jake said. Plus it's fun to watch. Amy Carter pulled up another video. This is my favorite. Roller derby. The aliens watched humans on wheeled shoes race in circles. They shoved each other, knocked opponents down. One skater flew over the barrier into the crowd. Your species pays to watch violence? Crix asked. Sometimes we pay to participate, Amy said. I was on a team in college, broke my wrist twice, good times. The purple assistant made a worried sound. You broke bones for fun? Steve Walker sat down near the aliens. Let me explain human psychology. We come from a death world. Everything. There wants to kill us. So we turned it into a game. He pulled up his sleeve, showing old scars. See these? Tiger shark. I was surfing when it bit me. Needed 40 stitches. You survived a predator attack, Crix said. That's remarkable. That's not the remarkable part, Steve continued. The remarkable part is I went surfing again the next month in the same spot. The aliens fell silent. Humans don't just survive danger, Jake explained. We seek it out. We climb mountains that kill people. We jump out of functioning aircraft. We swim with predators. We made sports out of surviving. But why? Crix asked. Why seek danger? Because we're bored, Mike said simply. Peace is nice, but humans need challenges, so we invent dangerous sports. We compete against death itself. Lisa added, that's why the Raiders' attack didn't scare us. Compared to a normal Saturday night in Detroit, alien pirates are pretty tame. The ship's cook brought out Earth food for everyone to try. The alien scanners lit up again. Hot sauce that could strip paint, fermented cabbage, cheese with living bacteria, coffee strong enough to wake the dead. This one's called a ghost. Pepper, Sam said, holding up a small red vegetable. Want to try? The purple assistant's scanner showed chemical weapon warnings. That's capsaicin. It's a defense toxin. Yeah, it's pretty mild, Sam said. He bit into it. His eyes watered slightly. Good flavor, though. Crix watched the humans eat foods that should kill them, drink liquids that should dissolve their organs, play games that should break their bodies, and they smiled through it all. I understand now, the ambassador said quietly. Humans didn't just come from a death world. You turned your entire existence into a game against death. And you're winning. Jake raised his glass again. To the scariest game in the galaxy, being human. The crew cheered. In the doorways, alien crew members backed away. They had just realized something terrifying. Humans thought danger was fun. The Galactic Council chamber was the oldest structure in civilized space. Its crystal walls had seen 1,000 species join the Alliance. Today, they witnessed something unprecedented. Ambassador Crix stood before the council. His forearms moved in formal patterns. Behind him, holographic displays showed footage from the stellar harmony. The council members, representing 50 different species, watched in growing alarm. The humans come from Earth, Crix reported. A Class 12 death world. Gravity 3 times standard. Toxic atmosphere containing free oxygen. Background radiation that kills in hours. Active tectonic plates. Weather systems that can destroy cities, the council murmured. Class 12. Worlds were considered uninhabitable. They should not exist, continued Crix. Yet they do, and they've achieved space travel. Counselor Thek, a crystalline being, flashed colors of concern. Show us the Zarathi incident. The hologram displayed the battle. Council members watched humans defeat feared raiders with mops, tape, and sports equipment. Several counselors made sounds of distress. They weaponized boredom itself, Crick said. Their young play with items we consider deadly. Their sports are bloodier than our wars. They drink poison for pleasure. They eat pain-causing plants for flavor. Counselor Vera, whose species resembled floating jellyfish, pulsed with fear. What military technology do they possess? That's the terrifying part, Crix answered. They don't need military technology. Everything they touch becomes a weapon. I watched their pilot turn food into high-velocity projectiles. Their engineer used adhesive tape to disable energy weapons. Their security chief defeated armored soldiers with sporting goods. The hologram changed. It showed Jake Miller straightening a paperclip while explaining its weapon potential. Observe, Crick said. This human describes 17 ways to use a small wire as a weapon. He learned this as a child, not from military training, from boredom. Counselor Zeph, an insectoid species, clicked nervously. Surely they have weaknesses. They do, Crix admitted. They're relatively fragile, no natural armor, no claws, vulnerable to energy weapons. But they compensate with creativity that borders on insanity. The display showed Amy Carter's modified food processor launching frozen burritos through metal plates. Their motto appears to be, "If it exists, we can hit someone with it," Crick said. They see weapons where others see tools. They see games where others see death. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. Counselor Theck flashed rapid patterns. Recommend immediate isolation, quarantine the Sol system, prevent human expansion. Too late, Crick said. He changed the display. 3 days ago, human traders reached Vega Station. They're selling what they call novelty items. The screen showed a market stall. Humans demonstrated rubber band guns to fascinated aliens, children's toys that launched foam projectiles, something called water balloons. Each item made security scanners flash warnings. They're already spreading, Vera pulsed. What are our options? I've studied human history, Crick said. War is not an option. When threatened, humans become more creative. In their world wars, they invented increasingly horrible weapons. Nuclear fission, chemical agents, biological warfare, and those were against other humans. The council fell silent. The implications were clear. Furthermore, Crix continued, they unify against external threats. Human nations that hate each other will instantly ally against outsiders. Their entire species would mobilize. What do you recommend? Asked Counselor Zeph. Crix's forearms made a gesture of resignation. Integration. Make them allies before they realize they don't need us. They're already fond of other species. They protected my ship without hesitation. They share their food and culture freely. If we try to contain them, we become the enemy. If we welcome them, we gain the most dangerous allies in the galaxy. The hologram showed one final scene. Human children playing in a park. They threw objects at each other, climbed dangerous structures, competed in games that would terrify most species, and they laughed the entire time. The humans have a saying, Crix concluded. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I suggest we become very close friends with humanity, because the alternative is too terrifying to contemplate. The Council voted unanimously. Humanity would be welcomed into the Galactic Alliance. Better to have the Deathworlders inside the tent than outside throwing things at it. 1 year had passed since first contact. The galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Jake Miller sat in the Galactic Council's new security headquarters. His office walls displayed news feeds from across known space. Every screen told the same story. Humans were everywhere, and everything was changing. Sir? Lisa Brown entered, now wearing commander insignia. The Zerathi Syndicate just sent another surrender request. Jake smiled. What caused it this time? Human merchants introduced something called prank warfare to their border colonies. Apparently, someone filled the Zerathi command center with biodegradable packing peanuts. Their leader slipped on a banana peel during a military parade. The footage went viral. On the screen, A proud Zarathi warlord fell spectacularly while his troops tried not to laugh. The mighty Raider empire that terrorized the galaxy for centuries was being defeated by practical jokes. Mike Johnson walked in carrying a training manual. The new recruits are ready. 15 species learning human combat methods, though the Valerians are struggling with the concept of anything can be a weapon. They'll learn, Jake said. He turned to another screen showing a weapons testing facility. How's Project Rubber Duck going? Better than expected, Mike reported. Turns out if you launch a rubber duck at sufficient velocity, it can penetrate most armor. The physics department is baffled. The military is ordering millions. Ambassador Crix appeared on the communication screen. His forearms moved in patterns Jake now recognized as laughter. Admiral Miller, the Council has another situation requiring human expertise. What is it this time? The Zarathi hive mind discovered human children's toys. They're particularly disturbed by something called Lego bricks. Their warriors stepped on them during a raid simulation. Half their army is demanding hazard pay. Jake chuckled. Send them some slippers. And maybe a few jigsaw puzzles. I hear hive minds hate those. The door chimed. Amy Carter entered with Sam Davis. Both wore civilian clothes but carried themselves like soldiers. Our consulting firm just landed another contract, Amy announced. The Philidian Empire wants us to redesign their defensive systems. Let me guess, Jake said. More improvised weapons? Sam held up a blueprint. Automated paper airplane launchers. Sounds silly until you realize we can make them out of razored metal at max speeds. Plus, the psychological effect is devastating. Imagine being an invader defeated by office supplies. The main screen switched to a trade station. Human entrepreneurs had set up shops selling Earth items. Lines of aliens waited to buy super soakers, silly string, and whoopee cushions. Each item came with warnings in 50 languages. The Merchant Guild reports profit increases of 3,000%, Lisa said. Turns out everyone wants human toys. The Altarian Navy just placed an order for 10,000 garden hoses. Garden hoses? Jake asked. High-pressure water. Delivery systems, Lisa explained. Effective against energy shields, plus you can water plants with them afterward. Steve Walker called in from the medical division. Jake, you need to see this. 3 pirate fleets just surrendered after hearing humans were coming. They didn't even wait to see us. The Psychological Warfare Division wants to study the human fear factor. On another screen, a documentary played. It showed human children, at a birthday party, hitting a piñata with sticks. Alien commentators discussed the violent training ritual with academic seriousness. Jake stood and walked to his window. Outside, the space station bustled with activity. Human consultants taught improvised weapons courses. Alien children played with Earth toys under careful supervision. Former pirates attended rehabilitation programs featuring trust falls and team-building exercises. You know what the best part is? Jake said. We're not conquering the galaxy, we're just teaching everyone to be creative, to see possibilities instead of limitations. Mike nodded. Though I think some species are taking it too far. The Centauri. Ambassador challenged me to a duel with pool noodles yesterday. Who won? Lisa asked. Draw. We both laughed too hard to continue. Ambassador Crix appeared in person, holding a rubber band. I've been practicing. Watch this. He shot it at a target across the room. It hit dead center. Jake applauded. You're getting it. See, that's all humans really bring to the galaxy. The idea that everything has potential. Every object, every situation, every problem has a creative solution. Even paper clips? Crix asked. Jake pulled one from his desk, already bending it into shape. Especially paper clips. The galaxy had learned humanity's greatest secret. It wasn't their strength or technology that made them dangerous. It was their ability to see weapons in everything and fun in anything. And now, slowly but surely, the rest of the galaxy was learning to think like humans. The age of creative chaos had begun.